everyone. This is Greg Ruby for Acoustic Guitar Magazine, and in this issue's Here's How, we are going to develop your swing feel by deepening your understanding of what a swing eighth note is. All right, let's jump in. All music has a pulse, or a heartbeat, or simply a beat. Let's express that by tapping our foot. Now, let's place a sound by clapping right along with the beat. That would be known as a quarter note. Now, let's make an eighth note by placing a sound on the beat and halfway in between it and the next one. So it would sound like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Great. Now we are going to create a swung eighth note, which instead of dividing the space between the two beats evenly, we're going to divide them into thirds, with the first 2/3 being the first sound, and then on the last third being the second eighth note, or the second sound. So we're going to do that by subdividing the space using a triplet. So let's get our pulse going again, and let's clap some triplets. So 1, 2, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 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 triplet. Great. Now we are going to only play the first and last of the triplets. So it will sound like triplet, triplet. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Triplet, 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 triplet. And voila, there is a swung eighth note. Now, let's go ahead and hang some notes on that. We're going to start by playing a C major scale in the second position as quarter notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're going to play that as swung eighth notes, keeping the triplet feel in mind. Triplet, 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 with just the first and last of them. So we could say it out loud, we could not say it out loud. Eventually it just wants to become a feel more than something we're thinking about. But for now, let's think about it, and let's think of it as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now, let's play this as an even eighth note. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Great. This time we are going to play ascending as swung eighth notes and descending as even eighth notes. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Great. Now, take this idea to some of your favorite melodies that use eighth notes and practice them both ways so that you can get to know what a swing feel is and also what it isn't. Knowing what something isn't helps reinforce the ability to make the distinction between the two. I'm going to demonstrate this with one of my favorite melodies, Nuage. I'm just going to use the first phrase, and I'm going to play it both as first as a swung eighth note and then as an even eighth note. So here we go. 1 and 2 and 3. now as an even eighth note. 1 and 2 and 3. Now, we also want to start to get comfortable with the swung eighth note when the first of those is a rest. So we're still keeping that swung feel beneath it, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, but we're omitting the first note. So something like this. I'm going to just play the note E. First, I'm going to play it as swung eighth note. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Then I'm going to leave out the first of those. So it's going to sound like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Great. So this is really helpful for pickup phrases. So improvise a couple lines and try starting on the and of 4 going into a string of eighth notes. So maybe something like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Or maybe start on the and of 3. 1, 2, 3. Now, the swung eighth note can also apply to what I like to think of as a swung quarter note. Often when playing rhythm guitar accompaniment in a swing style, there's something known as 4 to the bar. And that is often indicated or written as 4 quarter notes. But we are putting a space in between each of those quarter notes. So we have a choice of how long we want to make each sound to be. So I like to lock into the swing groove by thinking of these swing eighth notes, by playing the first 2/3, roughly, of the measure with sound and the last third with a rest. All right, let me demonstrate that with the G6, internalizing the swung eighth note. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. At a faster tempo. 1, 2, 3 and 4 and. Great. You can also use the subdivision of the swung eighth note during very slow tempos. So for example, in ballads, where the distance between the quarter notes becomes harder to measure because there's just more time elapses in between those beats. So we can measure the space in between. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1. Thank you so much. Now get out there and swing. This is Greg Ruby for Acoustic Guitar Magazine.